Hello friends. Have you ever wondered what secrets the universe whispers about those born on January 31st? What cosmic blueprint is etched into their soul? What makes their heart beat faster in love, what fuels their passion, and what do the stars say about their destiny? Today, we're peeling back the celestial layers to reveal the astrological, numerological, and even Druidic truths about people born on this truly fascinating day. So if you were born on January 31st, or know someone who was, get ready for an eye-opening journey across signs, symbols, and energies you didn't even know were shaping your life. The Zodiac sign, Aquarius. Born under the inventive and future-forward sign of Aquarius, individuals born on January 31st are paradoxes in motion. They're fiercely independent, yet profoundly humanitarian, rebels with a deep sense of purpose. These people aren't here to maintain the status quo, they're here to question it, flip it, and rebuild it into something better. Their ruling planet, Uranus, governs revolution, originality, and unexpected change. It gifts them with an offbeat charisma and a lightning-bolt intellect that's impossible to ignore. Aquarius is the visionary of the zodiac. And January 31st natives feel that even more intensely. They're thinkers, dreamers, and quiet disruptors, always 10 steps ahead, often misunderstood, but rarely ignored. They carry an energy that's hard to define and even harder to contain. They think in terms of systems, futures, and solutions. Whether they're designing new technologies, challenging broken institutions, or simply questioning everyday assumptions, these Aquarians are drawn to one question: how can this be better? But make no mistake, for all their innovation, these people feel deeply. Their humanitarian streak isn't some distant idea, it's personal. They care about society the way most people care about family. Justice, equity, progress, they don't just want those things. They need them. They dream of a future where everyone thrives, and more importantly, they believe it's possible. Their mind might live in tomorrow, but their heart beats for humanity today. Love romance, the intellectual flirt. Forget cheesy pickup lines and rom-com cliches. For someone born on January 31st, romance starts in the mind. They fall in love not with appearances or status, but with ideas, originality, and how your brain fires when it's excited. A perfect date for them might look like an hours-long talk under the stars, debating philosophy, laughing at obscure memes, and wondering if parallel universes could hold better versions of ourselves. These Aquarians don't do clingy or conventional. They aren't interested in a cookie-cutter relationship. What they want is a connection, not one bound by routine or tradition, but one anchored in mutual growth and freedom. They need to know they can be fully themselves, without pressure to conform to rigid emotional expectations. If you try to possess them or guilt-trip them into closeness, they'll quietly pull away and vanish like vapor. But once they choose you, you've got something rare. When they love, they choose it, with intention and authenticity. Their loyalty runs deep, though it's laced with a constant need for independence. Emotional space is essential for them, not because they're distant or cold, but because solitude helps them realign with who they are. Their love thrives not in constant contact, but in quality presence, the kind that feels electric even in silence. These lovers are also deeply drawn to the unusual. They're more likely to fall for someone halfway across the world than the person next door. They believe in love that transcends labels and boundaries. Whether it's age gap relationships, cultural contrasts, or polyamory, they're not here for rules, they're here for truth. The bottom line: if you want their heart, speak to their soul through ideas. Give them space, give them wonder, and above all, give them something to discover in you every day. Sexual energy, electric and exploratory. Let's just say this: people born on January 31st don't just have sexual energy, they radiate it like a live wire. This isn't the soft, candlelit seduction of a romantic drama, it sparks, surprise, and sensory innovation. Thanks to their ruling planet Uranus, the planet of upheaval and originality, these Aquarians crave novelty and stimulation not just in conversation, but in intimacy. They approach sex as an experience to explore, not merely a physical act, but a blend of the mind, the senses, and emotional experimentation. Variety is their playground. January 31st Aquarians are driven by an insatiable curiosity that doesn't stop at the bedroom door. They don't stick to scripts or settle for predictability. Whether it's different positions, new locations, or exploring aspects of their identity through intimacy, they thrive on trying what others haven't even imagined. If it's new, taboo, or unexplored, they're intrigued. Monotony, on the other hand, is a slow death for their desire. Their creativity in bed is matched only by their openness. These are the types who aren't afraid to talk about fantasies, yours or theirs. Role play? Yes. Imaginative scenarios? Absolutely. Tech-enhanced pleasure? Bring on the gadgets. With them, sex can feel like part performance, part experiment, part interdimensional journey. But what makes it beautiful is that none of it is forced. Their enthusiasm is authentic, playful, and refreshingly free of judgment. Even more fascinating, they don't operate from raw instinct alone. These Aquarians have a deeply psychological and intellectual approach to sex. They're turned on by concepts, conversations, even philosophical connections. A debate about consciousness can be just as arousing as physical foreplay. Intimacy for them is a mirror of their connection with your mind. If your brain lights them up, the rest follows naturally. But here's the kicker, they might seem emotionally detached during sex, especially to signs that crave constant affirmation. They're not cold, they're just processing and expressing through energy, motion, and thought rather than clingy sentiment. Give them room to be themselves, and they'll give you intimacy that's electric, layered, and absolutely unforgettable. Marriage, a revolutionary partnership. If you're planning to marry someone born on January 31st, erase every traditional image of marriage you've ever seen in a Hallmark movie. This is not someone who wants a cookie-cutter spouse, a white picket fence, and a routine calendar of anniversaries and holidays. They want something deeper, bolder, and far more liberating. For them, marriage is not about comfort, it's about co-creation. It's about building something that didn't exist before, a relationship rooted in evolution, freedom, and radical honesty. These Aquarians are all about non-traditional roles. They won't bat an eye at flipping societal expectations. If they're better suited to nurture the kids while their partner leads a startup, great. If they're the ambitious force while their spouse holds down the emotional fort, that's fine too. What matters most is conscious choice. Every role, every agreement, has to feel fair and aligned with who each partner truly is. They deeply respect equality in all forms and despise the idea of being boxed into a role just because that's how it's done. Communication is their sacred ground. If something feels off, they want to talk about it, ideally right away. Silence, passive aggression, emotional stonewalling. Absolutely unacceptable. They need openness, emotional maturity, and a willingness to tackle the hard stuff. For them, vulnerability is sexy, and honesty is essential. A partner who can navigate difficult truths without flinching will earn their lifelong loyalty. But perhaps the biggest key to a successful marriage with a January 31st Aquarius is embracing constant evolution. These individuals are not static beings. They will outgrow old versions of themselves like a snake sheds its skin. That means the marriage, too, must grow. They don't fear change, they need it. Whether it's shifting careers, exploring spiritual paths, or rethinking what intimacy looks like after kids, they want a relationship that breathes. One that reinvents itself instead of rusting in place. In short, marrying a January 31st Aquarius is like stepping into an open-ended voyage. There's no final destination, only continuous discovery. It's a partnership for people who believe that love should challenge you, teach you, and set you free, all at once. It won't be easy. But it will be unforgettable, unconventional, and potentially the greatest collaboration of your life. Friendship, the loyal outsider. Friendship with someone born on January 31st is anything but ordinary. These Aquarians walk a fine line between intimacy and independence, closeness and detachment. They might ghost you for weeks, or even months, only to return with an idea that could change the world or a perspective that shakes your worldview. But don't take their distance personally. For them, solitude isn't avoidance, it's essential fuel. They need space to think, to dream, to recalibrate. When they return, they do so with full presence, eager to re-engage in the connection they deeply value. What makes their friendships so unique is their depth. These aren't your, "Hey, how's the weather?" acquaintances. Aquarians born on January 31st want to dig below the surface. They're drawn to the outcasts, the dreamers, the rebels, anyone who's unafraid to be different. Their ideal friendships are based on mutual intellect, soul-level connection, and often a shared fascination with something bizarre or niche. Conversations may veer from conspiracy theories to climate ethics to retro video games, all in one sitting. If you can keep up, you're in for a thrilling, lifelong ride. Respect for personal space is not negotiable. These Aquarians don't need, or want, constant check-ins or emotional hand-holding. In fact, clingy friends tend to drain them. Their loyalty is fierce, but it's conditional on mutual respect. They're the type who might not talk to you every day, but if you're in trouble at 3 a.m., they'll be at your door in 10 minutes, no questions asked. They operate on quality, not quantity. What matters most is whether they feel seen, respected, and free to be their complex, quirky selves without judgment. When it comes to fun, forget routine. January 31st friends crave adventure over small talk. They want spontaneous road trips, experimental art exhibits, or collaborating on something creative and absurd. They bond through shared discovery, through doing and building and imagining. Friendship with them is rarely traditional, but it's always sincere. However, one major caveat: betrayal is the end. They may forgive in theory, but they rarely forget in practice. Loyalty is sacred to them. If you break their trust, you'll likely find the door closed, quietly, permanently, and without drama. Business career, visionaries in the making. For those born on January 31st, the idea of a conventional career path can feel suffocating. The typical 9-to-5 job structure often feels like trying to contain a thunderstorm inside a shoebox. These individuals are here to reinvent, not maintain. They're not just workers, they're change agents, drawn to roles where they can challenge norms, introduce new systems, and reimagine what's possible. Their energy thrives in spaces where freedom, flexibility, and innovation collide. They don't just want to do the work, they want to redefine the way the world thinks about the work. Technology and innovation are natural outlets for their mind. Fields like AI, quantum computing, green energy, and robotics excite their futuristic imagination. They often find themselves at the cutting edge, whether coding a revolutionary app, creating sustainable tech, or envisioning smarter cities. For them, tech isn't just a career path, it's a canvas for imagining what humanity could become. And with Uranus as their ruler, they're born with an instinctive grasp of the digital, the virtual, and the visionary. Equally compelling is their drive for social reform. They might be leading climate protests, writing policy for marginalized groups, or building grassroots organizations. They're often drawn to NGOs, progressive politics, or even spiritual movements that seek to heal and transform. They're not about power, they're about purpose. If a job helps move society forward, they're in. They're especially passionate about causes involving justice, equality, and systems overhaul. They don't complain about problems, they architect solutions. Creative entrepreneurship is another major magnet. These Aquarians have no shortage of ideas, and they hate waiting for permission. Whether it's starting a podcast, building a design studio, or launching a futuristic fashion brand, they do best when they're in charge of their own vision. They thrive in startup culture, where risk meets innovation and autonomy is celebrated. Traditional business plans bore them. Disruption excites them. They're more visionary CEO than loyal employee. What they excel at is astonishing. They think so far ahead of the curve that they often are the curve. They see what others don't, and they're skilled at connecting dots across disciplines. They can walk into a broken system and intuitively know how to rebuild it stronger, smarter, and more human. They're also brilliant at trend forecasting, making them valuable consultants or innovators in industries that must evolve fast. But they do have challenges. Routine can be soul-killing for them. Repetitive tasks and rigid schedules tend to dull their creative fire. They also struggle with micromanagement. If they feel boxed in, controlled, or undervalued, they'll either shut down or bolt entirely. Environments that lack flexibility or discourage big-picture thinking quickly become unbearable. They need air, space, and a sense of mission. Their ideal roles? Think visionary startup founder, boundary-pushing influencer, forward-thinking tech leader, or behind-the-scenes mastermind in cultural revolutions. They're often the spark behind movements, trends, and ideas that change how we live and think. Their success lies not in following the map, but in drawing new ones. For them, career is not a ladder, it's a launch pad. Numerology, the power of 4. Let's talk numbers, the quiet architects of personality. When you take January 31st and break it down, 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. At first glance, this seems like a cosmic joke. Aquarians are famously rebellious, unconventional, and allergic to anything resembling a routine. So how can the number 4, the most grounded, structured, and build a fence around it number in numerology, apply to someone born under such a free-spirited sign? But that's exactly where the beauty lies. People born on January 31st are not traditional builders, they are revolutionary architects. The number 4 gives them the inner scaffolding to take big, wild ideas and turn them into something tangible. While other Aquarians might float in theories, these individuals possess an almost contradictory drive to give shape, structure, and real-world form to their dreams. They're rebels who know how to organize a rebellion. That 4 energy gives them an incredible work ethic, not just in the sense of long hours or discipline, but in sheer determination. These individuals are willing to do the hard work most people avoid. They understand that dreams need a blueprint, and they'll build it themselves if they have to. Whether they're launching a business, writing a manifesto, or turning a movement into a company, they do it with persistence and grit. Even if their process looks unorthodox, the backbone is always solid. They also carry a surprising sense of responsibility, often hidden beneath their laid-back or aloof exterior. People may underestimate them because they don't advertise their seriousness. But when the stakes are high or people are counting on them, they show up strong. They take their promises seriously and have a quiet inner code of honor that they rarely break. Others may see them as eccentric, but underneath is someone who values commitment, follow-through, and long-term impact. Finally, the number 4 grants them a deep urge to create order, even if it looks like chaos to the outside world. They're not interested in old systems, they're here to build better ones. These are the people who create frameworks where none existed before, new workflows, innovative community models, unexpected business strategies. Their homes may be filled with scattered whiteboards and messy workspaces, but every piece has its place. Their chaos is intelligent, it's ordered innovation. So while they may not fit the mold of your typical, stable, personality, they are in fact stability bringers in disguise. They're the kind of people who show up when it matters most, stay when things fall apart, and rebuild the future brick by brick, even if they have to do it on their own terms. Compatibility, who can handle the spark? Aquarians born on January 31st are not easy to love, but once you do, it's unforgettable. These individuals are cerebral, freedom-loving, and always in motion, which means they need partners who can keep up, keep them curious, and, most importantly, never try to cage them. Relationships for them aren't about comfort or predictability. They're about exploration, shared missions, and constant evolution. So, who fits that mold? Let's start with Gemini. These two are like twin frequencies on the same radio wave. Both love to talk, learn, and ideate. With a Gemini, the January 31st Aquarius finds a kindred spirit who doesn't just accept their mental wanderings but fuels them. Conversations flow endlessly, and boredom is impossible. The only challenge? Both signs can be a little too scattered, so grounding their bond in something tangible takes conscious effort. Still, it's a dynamic, intellectually electric match. Then there's Libra, who brings balance, beauty, and an open mind to the table. Libra's diplomatic nature helps smooth over Aquarius' sharp edges, and their shared love for ideas and art creates an aesthetically rich partnership. Libra adds emotional grace to Aquarius' mental intensity, making this match feel like both a creative collaboration and a love story. Together, they design a life that's not just functional, but elevated. Sagittarius is another power pairing. Both signs crave freedom, discovery, and a life that never settles into monotony. With Sagittarius, Aquarius finds a fellow explorer, someone who wants to challenge the world and challenge themselves. The relationship feels like a road trip with no final destination, always in motion, full of surprises, and incredibly fun. The only hurdle is commitment. Both may resist defining the relationship, but if they align on values, the fire can last a lifetime. Enter Aries, the bold, impulsive fire sign who loves action as much as Aquarius loves invention. This pairing has explosive energy. Aries pushes Aquarius to act on their visions, while Aquarius inspires Aries to think before leaping. It's a mutual empowerment scenario, if they can handle the sparks without burning out. Emotional intensity meets mental brilliance, and the chemistry? Off the charts. Now, let's talk challenges. Taurus may struggle with Aquarius' unpredictability. Taurus needs comfort, stability, and a sense of control. Aquarius thrives in chaos, invention, and openness. The Taurus desire for, "this is how we do things," can make Aquarius feel smothered. Unless both are deeply committed to understanding the other's worldview, this pairing can feel like trying to sync a vinyl record with an alien radio station. Cancer, with its deep emotional waters, often feels overwhelmed by Aquarius' cool detachment. Cancer wants closeness, vulnerability, and emotional transparency, while Aquarius needs space and doesn't always process emotion traditionally. Cancer may see Aquarius as aloof or uncaring, when in reality, the Aquarius is just wired differently. This match requires a translator, and a lot of patience. Virgo, although intellectually compatible, may clash with Aquarius when it comes to control and detail. Virgo lives in the granular, planning, refining, analyzing. Aquarius, on the other hand, soars in the abstract. Virgo's tendency to critique can trigger Aquarius' rebellious side. Unless both can respect their very different operating systems, the relationship may devolve into a battle of logic versus inspiration. Still, it's important to remember, astrology shows us potential, not fate. Love isn't built in the stars, it's built in the choices we make every day. But when cosmic alignment does happen? For a January 31st Aquarius, it's not just love, it's a spark that lights up the future. Druid horoscope, the cypress tree. In Celtic tree astrology, those born on January 31st are ruled by the cypress tree, a symbol of silent strength and sacred endurance. At first glance, the cypress may seem unassuming, slender, graceful, almost somber. But beneath its quiet appearance lies a spirit that refuses to bend to the storms of life. People born under this sign are survivors, not because they fight loudly, but because they endure with purpose. They often experience early life challenges, whether emotional, financial, or existential, that shape them into deeply introspective and quietly powerful beings. The Cypress soul is strong, resilient, and remarkably adaptable. These individuals possess an emotional core like tempered steel, formed not by comfort, but by fire. They're the type of people who've been through the worst and come out wiser, calmer, and more grounded. They don't just survive hardship, they transform through it. Change doesn't scare them, it refines them. Whether navigating the loss of a loved one or reinventing themselves after a major life upheaval, Cypress-born people hold steady, often becoming emotional anchors for others. They are also spiritual yet grounded. There's a sacred quality to their inner world, a sense that they're connected to something deeper, older, and more eternal. They may be drawn to nature-based spiritual practices, ancestral wisdom, or simply find peace in stillness and solitude. But unlike some mystics who float away from reality, Cypress individuals keep their feet firmly planted. They balance the mystical with the practical, often acting as bridges between the unseen and the material. Their spirituality shows up not in grand gestures but in everyday rituals, quiet integrity, and unspoken wisdom. Perhaps most defining of all is their quiet power. Cypress people don't need to shout to be heard. Their strength is sensed, not announced. They have a commanding presence even when they say little, and people often turn to them for guidance, comfort, or stability, especially during times of crisis. They're not attention seekers, but they earn respect. There's something ancient in their energy, like old souls wrapped in new skin. Loyalty runs deep in the heart of the Cypress-born. Once they let someone in, they are unshakably devoted. But this loyalty is sacred and never given lightly. They value depth over popularity, truth over comfort, and connection over convenience. They are drawn to lifelong bonds, and their friendships and relationships are often woven with a spiritual thread. They are the keepers of ancient wisdom, even if they never speak it aloud, and their path is to walk with dignity, rooted in something far deeper than the surface of things. Vedic Astrology, Capricorn Sun Makara Rashi. According to Vedic astrology, also known as Jyotish, the Sun is still in Capricorn Makara Rashi on January 31st. That means while Western astrology labels this birthday as Aquarius, the ancient Vedic tradition sees something different, the grounded, disciplined, and purpose-driven energy of Capricorn. This duality creates an extraordinary personality dynamic, combining the dreamer with the doer, the innovator with the architect. It's like having one foot in the sky and one firmly on the earth. The Capricorn influence infuses January 31st individuals with a powerful sense of structure and responsibility. These people aren't just thinkers, they're builders. They understand the value of time, effort, and persistence. Where other Aquarians may drift in possibility, those under Makara Rashi ground their dreams in reality. They take calculated risks, make thoughtful plans, and are often far more reliable than their Western zodiac would suggest. This gives them an edge in the material world, especially in career, finance, and long-term strategy. At the same time, Capricorn lends them a stoic resilience and inner ambition that fuels their progress. They're not loud about their goals, but they're always working toward them. Often, these individuals feel an invisible pressure to achieve, whether that's success, mastery, or simply personal growth. They carry an internal sense of purpose that doesn't depend on external validation. Even when faced with setbacks, they rarely crumble. Instead, they double down, recalibrate, and keep moving forward. Their ambition is not just for personal gain, it's for legacy. They want to build something that lasts. This dual signature, Aquarius by the stars and Capricorn by the sun, creates a rare and potent synergy. The Aquarius influence gives them vision, the desire to challenge the status quo, to explore new systems, to imagine the future before it's arrived. The Capricorn side gives them the tools to make it real, discipline, work ethic, and emotional endurance. Many born on this day are drawn to roles where they can be both innovators and leaders, disruptors who still know how to manage a team, run a company, or shape a movement from the ground up. In Vedic philosophy, Makara is also symbolized by the sea goat, half terrestrial, half aquatic. This hybrid creature speaks to the dual world of these individuals, one part reaching for the heavens, the other deeply rooted in earthly mastery. It represents ambition infused with depth, dreams fused with structure. For those born on January 31st, this creates an exceptional gift, the ability not just to envision the future, but to build it, brick by visionary brick. Birthstone, Amethyst. Amethyst is more than just a pretty purple crystal, it's a stone of spiritual protection, inner peace, and higher consciousness, making it the perfect match for those born on January 31st. With their minds always tuned to the next big idea, January 31st individuals often live in a state of mental overdrive. Amethyst helps anchor them, providing a gentle but powerful grounding force that calms their mental chaos and opens the door to deeper clarity. One of Amethyst's greatest gifts is its ability to enhance intuition. For Aquarians, especially those born on this date, intuition is often a silent compass guiding their forward-thinking ideas and gut-level insights. Amethyst acts like a tuning fork for their inner wisdom, helping them trust their instincts while staying connected to something greater than themselves. Whether they're navigating relationships, launching a business, or facing a personal crossroad, this stone helps sharpen that inner knowing that says, this is the right path. Amethyst is also deeply connected to creativity. It doesn't just inspire, it clears the fog. For January 31st individuals, who often swim in vast oceans of thought, the stone acts like a lighthouse, illuminating the most inspired, imaginative routes. Writers, artists, entrepreneurs, and innovators born on this day will often find that keeping amethyst nearby helps bring their abstract ideas into clearer focus, fueling their originality while calming their nervous system. It's the dreamer's stone, but one that knows how to build a dream into form. And perhaps most crucially, amethyst strengthens mental clarity, a necessity for these fast-processing, often overstimulated Aquarians. It eases anxiety, relieves brain fog, and supports decision-making by calming the emotional noise that can cloud logic. For someone constantly juggling ideas, responsibilities, and existential thoughts, amethyst becomes a quiet companion that whispers, breathe, focus, begin again. It soothes the nervous system like a cool wind on overheated skin. So, whether worn as jewelry, placed on a nightstand, or tucked inside a pocket during big meetings, amethyst is a sacred ally. It's not just beautiful, it's functional. For the brilliant but often restless soul born on January 31st, it's a tool for balance, brilliance, and serenity all in one violet-hued gem. Birth flower, violet. The violet is a flower that whispers rather than shouts, but don't mistake its softness for weakness. This birth flower for January 31st holds layers of meaning that mirror the Aquarian spirit, quiet strength, emotional depth, and a power that doesn't need a spotlight to bloom. Delicate on the outside and rich in symbolism, the violet captures the essence of those born on this day, unconventional, thoughtful, and full of subtle but undeniable impact. At its heart, the violet symbolizes faithfulness, a trait that runs deep in Aquarians, even if it's not always shown in traditional ways. January 31st individuals are not loud about their loyalty, but once they bond with someone, that loyalty becomes unwavering. Much like the violet that reappears year after year, often in the same hidden corners of the garden, these individuals remain constant through life's changes. Their love and friendship may not be grandiose, but they are enduring and true. The violet also stands for wisdom, especially the kind that doesn't demand to be recognized. Those born on January 31st often carry an old soul energy. They're insightful, intuitive, and often ahead of their time. Yet they rarely boast about what they know. Like the violet, they offer their wisdom gently, through observation, deep listening, and unexpected truths shared at just the right moment. Their knowledge feels ancient and instinctive, shaped not just by intellect but by emotional intelligence and lived experience. And then there's mystery, the violet's final gift. There's something about January 31st Aquarians that always feels just out of reach. You might know them for years and still discover something new in how they think, love, or dream. They hold secrets not to deceive but because their inner world is vast, private, and layered. Like the way violets hide their blossoms under heart-shaped leaves, these individuals often tuck away their deepest emotions, revealing them only to those who've truly earned their trust. So while they may not seek attention, the violet-born carry a quiet magnetism. They charm with authenticity. They inspire with subtlety. And they endure, just like the flower that returns each spring, not with fanfare, but with grace, resilience, and soul. For the January 31st Aquarius, the violet is not just a flower, it's a mirror. Life Path Summary. So what's the cosmic takeaway for those born on January 31st? At the intersection of innovation and intention, of rebellion and responsibility, lives a soul with a mission to transform the world, not by force, but by vision. These individuals don't just follow paths, they invent them. They don't crave validation, they crave meaning. Every choice, every relationship, every idea they chase is part of a larger story, the story of evolving both themselves and the world around them. You are a thinker, not a follower. You don't take information at face value, you dissect, reimagine, and reframe. Your mind is your compass, constantly scanning for patterns, contradictions, and possibilities others overlook. While the world may obsess over trends, you question their purpose. Where others stop at how, you ask, why not? You're wired for inquiry, not obedience. Your thoughts don't conform, they disrupt, and your intellect is both your shield and your sword. You are a rebel with a purpose. You're not defiant for the sake of drama, you challenge the norm because you see what's broken and believe in better. Your rebellion is rooted in hope, not chaos. Whether it's outdated systems, unfair rules, or harmful traditions, you have zero patience for what no longer serves. And here's the key, you don't just tear things down. You rebuild. You innovate. You create new templates for progress, justice, and truth. Your courage to question is matched only by your commitment to improve. You are a lover who needs space and intellect. Emotional connection is vital, but only when paired with respect for your individuality and mental autonomy. You need a partner who excites your thoughts before touching your body, who can sit in silence without insecurity, and who understands that love is not possession, it's partnership. You're not cold, you're just careful. Once you let someone in, you love them with a fierce, future-facing devotion. But suffocation? That's your exit sign. For you, love must breathe, or it dies. You are a friend who values truth above popularity. You don't collect friends, you cultivate them. Loyalty, depth, and honesty mean far more to you than social clout or surface-level connections. You have no interest in being liked by everyone. You'd rather be real with a few than fake with the crowd. Your friendships often feel like soul contracts, unspoken, sacred, and long-lasting. And when you give your trust, you give it completely. But cross a line, and it's almost impossible to return. Trust, once broken, rarely heals the same way. You are a builder of systems that haven't yet been imagined. You're not here to maintain the machine, you're here to recode it. Whether it's technology, philosophy, community, or business, you thrive in spaces where nothing is fixed and everything is possible. You see what doesn't work and ask, what if? You don't fear failure, you fear stagnation. You carry both the blueprint and the blueprint's destruction in your DNA. And where others stop at invention, you continue into iteration. Because for you, creation is never truly finished, it's always evolving. Your sole mission is to elevate humanity by challenging the norm, building new paradigms, and loving with open arms and sharp minds. You were born at the edge of logic and the horizon of change. The world needs your questions. It needs your clarity. It needs your courage to love differently, think expansively, and create radically. You are not an echo. You are an origin point. And everything about your journey is meant to push us forward, into a future that only someone like you could imagine.